Hey guys, what's up? This is ScherBR talking. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, let's talk about Spiral Corridor Floor 230, the latest release. This time we have to fight the Water Lord. This enemy here can attack with Slash and Blunt, but not Pierce, Cold, Lightning, and sometimes Shadow. It can apply Poison, very high chance to apply Poison. Poison is not really that much of a problem. Has low chance to apply Sleep, Unconsciousness, Paralyze and Stun. So we really need to protect versus ailments, and the best way to do so is to use the best formation for hard content. Rising Phoenix EX. Not saying that's truly the best formation, but it's just that we have to use this to have stable runs, or else stuff happens. Okay, so during this fight, we want to debuff, because all debuffs will be removed by the end of turn, so we need debuffers that have constant debuff and high values. And my debuffer of choice is Schiele. You can also run Summer Orlette. You can also run Esper Gal, but I prefer Schiele because she debuffs STR and Intelligence to very good values, and those are status that it will be used during the fight by the boss. Then I also have here Empress. Well, you can use Empress to survive the first turns, because the boss has a lot of damage on the first turns. You can also just rely on RNG if you want. Imperial Shield is a good inheritance, and then you can just use Kihachi Blade. Or you can just simply choose to run the other shield, that is the inheritance from her Christmas style, Christmas Moon. But then that would depend on your Julian surviving, because Julian is a very strong character here. We have him equipped with very good stuff, but even then he sometimes may just simply die because of the damage on start. Then we have Liz. That takes time, but eventually we'll have 4 defense boosts stacked. That's a lot of defense. Then we have Kihachi, and Kihachi is our main damage dealer, because the enemy is weak to Slash only. It does have some weakness to something else, but we will not know, since it's just 20%. It's not much, so it's either Slash or anything else. Okay, why am I running Kihachi together with Julian? Because Julian buffs STR when he gets hit. Kihachi is here on the back row, and after she gets some buffs, she'll do lots and lots of damage. She also has this very useful skill here, the second on Lightning Dual Slash, that applies Laceration for the whole fight. So you have a 37% chance to apply Defense Down versus Weak. So Kihachi and Julian will be doing more damage. And even Fire Empress if you are using that Kihachi Blade. But that's not the main thing here. You can also just run someone like Medea as a debuffer instead of Schiele. You can also run Firebringer because he's a slash damage dealer instead of Schiele if you don't have her. But he debuffs a little less. It's not really needed since Julian will destroy anyway. And then we have equipments that will decrease damage taken for all these elements. They really attack. Because this boss is super weak to Slash, but has just -20 versus some elements. You can see here, Heat, Shadow, Sun, and Lightning, and Cold. So it's better to focus on Slash, and the weak defense down that Kihachi applies means that you have to attack with Slash. Well, because of that, you can also just use Firebringer instead of Empress, or instead of Schiele. You can choose 2 different characters here. And as for equipment, well, Julian here has this helmet that gives him lots of resistance to Cold and Lightning. Azure helmet, that's nice, even to Poison. And we try to have some resistance to Lightning and Cold all the time, because the enemy will attack a lot with those elements, as you can see here. Well, let's go. Okay, there we go. And we will be using Star Liberation with Julian, because this will give him defense up, the currency damage taken by 20%. Final Empress will use her Imperial Shield. Then we have to start with Purple Smoke, because we will not take damage, just save BP. Dragon's Blessing have to be started on turn 1, and Kihachi will use her Lightning Dual Slash. You can also use someone like Golden Ball to give better taunt and endurance buffs when using Julian. But it's not as interesting, I believe, because, well, just endurance buffs are not a problem. We will need will buffs as well. You see the Water Lord removes all of his debuffs by the end of a turn, but he can also remove our buffs, but that doesn't really seem to have a very specific reason to happen. And maybe if you overbuff, but I'm not overbuffing so much, just, I don't know, STR. And he can do that mid-turn. So he can use even the Fire Weakness in the mid of the turn, and then use Buff Break on you, and then start Recra Havoc. The fight can last a lot as well because of the amount of HP Waterlord has, and the more it lasts, the more he gets multi-hit attacks. That's why you need a counter unit, because it will stop. You can get to quintuple strike. The problem is that Waterlord has multiple attacks, and only a few of them are direct and can be countered. So there's still a lot of RNG on this, and usually you will see normal single target attacks, but Waterlord will start using many AoEs when you see Caution. The Caution effect is interesting. It seems to happen on turn 3, then turn 5, and then so on. And you need to land a certain number of hits to break that Caution. If you break it, then Waterlord will not attack as much. But if you don't break, that means that you take a lot of damage. It's nice because Julian do have multi-hits that hits between 2 to 4 times. Yeah, also attacks multiple times, just like Kihachi. So kind of got this covered, but let's go. Now I can use a Starry Strike, for example, to have that end of turn heal. That will help. Another Imperial Shield. You can also use another Purple Smoke, Dragon's Blessing, and then 8-fold Wall Blade. That's because we already have 20 BP. And since that laceration from Lightning Dwell Slash is for the whole fight, well, you see that damage can scale very well, and Julian and Kihachi use many hits. Good thing also we'll have Schiele on Overdrive. In this fight, you don't need to use Schiele on the center like we needed for Firebringer. It has enough intelligence to be on the front line. And on Overdrive, it means that you'll be debuffing before the enemy always. But agility is not really the problem. See, just removing our buffs and started attacking. Later on the fight, he would even use the Fire Weakness on himself. So even if you were fast enough to debuff the guy, you can still remove it mid-turn. But then, see, Caution. Now we need to land many hits. In that case, you can use Starry Rush instead of Star Strike, because this will hit between 2 to 4 hits. Final Press will use this, and then Schiele will start using her Purple Sadness Rain. Because this heals a little as well, helps, debuffs intelligence. She will also debuff STR later, so Dragon's Blessing, and Kihachi can sometimes save BP using normal attacks, because she wants to get into Overdrive. The fight won't last too long, because Julian really helps here. You can also use just Incense as Inheritance with Schiele if you want, but well, I like this combination. You don't have Julian. You can use Yuma Mail as a counter, you can use Asilus, but they are not as strong. Get a buff in and off. See that we are seeing double strike. You start seeing triple strike pretty soon. Off break, mid-turn, triple strike. And Julia was able to break. Now, we have Overdrive Gauge with Kihachi fielded. That means that we will use it. On turns like this, where there's no caution, we don't need to attack too many times. We can also use Karatsu Hysteria, Purple Sadness, Dragon's Blessing, and then our 8-fold Wall Blade. Now we have a Laceration again, but just for 2 turns. But it stacks with the other one when we apply it. See that we got almost 500,000 damage with the Empress because of the many weak defense down. with Firebringer. We will do much more damage than Schiele, but we will also be less protected because the debuff is not that high. See that Liz got 2000 damage. That's why debuffing needs to be high. Okay, Liz also heals every turn, so hopefully she won't die on me. Caution again, so let's use Starry Rush. Can also use Dual Holy Moon to heal, although I always prefer to use Karatsu. We use this. Purple Sadness Rain, and Liz does not have enough people. So I'll remove her from Overdrive. Kihachi can use a little bit of Dual Lightning Blade because we are too far from Overdrive. Four hits so far. $800 damage with that right heel Thunder. Only the third hit of the triple strike was capable of counter. We broke the counter, saw? So he will not attack as much. That's why we need characters with multi-hits. At least Liz negates cold attacks. That's okay. Now we have Overdrive with 3 characters, and I'll be using Starry Strike, Karatsu, Purple Sadness, Dragon's Blessing, and then a normal attack, I guess. No, can use Dual Lightning Blade. Our defenses are now fully stacked, I believe. But hey, keep an eye on the number of turns passing. Waterlord will become more and more offensive. Starting with a counter. Another one. Awesome. Remove it buffs. But we still get lots of SDR buffs for Kihachi. Can use buff break, but not twice. Same turn. Got 3 buffs. Not that bad. See that caution? At least this time, Kihachi will break that by herself. Just watch it. Five with defense down. And 6. See? That counter broke. I believe it's something like 12 hits or so. It takes a lot of hits. Hence why Merlot-Syrah new style has at least 5 hits. Make it easier. Joe is another character that helps this fight a lot, but I'll be showcasing a different squad later because of the number of attacks Waterlord performs. Nice. On a turn where Kihachi attack, Julian counters do much more. Let's try to finish this by turn 10. 2 damage. Quadruple strike. And yeah, Waterlord can self-buff intelligence and will. Just did. It's not so dangerous if the fight is not too long. With Julian, the fight is not too long. We don't need a buff breaker. But in my second video, I will be using a buff breaker. Nice, Julian. So much damage. Caution again. This turn I don't have a lot of things to do, so I will use my Starry Rush, Kanatsu, Purple Sadness, Dragon's Blessing, and I will use my 8 full dual blade just to see if I can break the caution. Depends on the number of hits I get with Julian. Here we have 4, at least with Schiele. Let's account for 1, 2, 3, 4. It's also good to use her on Overdrive because you get 1 extra debuff. 7 hits on total now. 8. Now we will have another 8 with Kihachi, but only if she's fast enough. Let's go, Kihachi. The caution broke. But it seemed to break only 2 hits before the final. So if that's the case, it was 6 hits, 8 plus 6, 14 hits. Maybe their soul increases during the fight. Because it makes no much sense. Julian didn't got to overdrive this time. Because the enemy attacked less. Now, this will probably be the end. In 10 turns. Well, Kihachi does not have her 8 full dual blade, but I use it in the past turn because I wanted to guarantee that the people will survive. Well, Julian will have to kill. He totally can. But with this squad, I was totally safe, didn't get inflicted with the poison. Boss never self-buffed too much. There were moments where we took more damage, but never in a very dangerous moment. It was fast, but it relied on having at least Julian and Kihachi together. The other characters are kind of replaceable, but Julian and Kihachi are needed to beat in 10 turns. Well, that's the end of this video. I'll be releasing a second version with a different squad. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this can help you. If you want to support the channel, we have links on the description, and you can also join our Discord server where we talk about the universe and other games in general. Hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream.